at Module 2. Again, I'm looking at this as if I was a student. So we're going to be looking at at what are called sanctions, social norms, and cultural beliefs and biases. Okay. So in Module 2, we look at a concept that you may have heard of before, the word culture. Okay, when sociologists talk about culture, they're talking about the way of life of a group of people. Okay, for example, in the United States, we work, we have a wage-based economy, we value individuality and personal merit. Okay, those are values, cultural beliefs. Okay, what's considered good, important, correct. Okay. Another concept we have are norms, okay? This is a flyover, so make sure that you read this more in depth. A norm is quite straightforwardly a social rule, okay? A taboo is a serious violation of a cultural or social norm. For example, incest. Violating a social norm may mean a person will be subject to consequences known as sanctions. It could be as serious as being arrested if it's a violation of the law, or just simply acting in an odd way. Okay. So we need to look at cultural bias. We have to be careful not to use our own culture as a standard to evaluate other cultures. Okay, so the concept is culture. Please review this in detail. For this module, you're going to need to read in the Introduction to Sociology, Chapter 3, from the Real World. It will talk about identity of foundation. Right? There is an article on transgender teens. Okay. This transphobia is sweeping the country. There are many state legislatures that are enacting rules. And again, transgender teens are in school bathroom restrictions or at greater risk of sexual assault. Okay? And this video, which is very important that you watch, is an introduction to why we include citations in our work and what the purpose of a citation is. If you remember in video 1, I informed you that you're going to need to put a citation that's also called a reference at the end of every initial discussion post, every written assignment, and every milestone. Milestone 1, which you're going to be working on, you need to look at how to find a scholarly article, evaluate sources, and again, the basics of APA style, how you frame a citation. There's a particular format for it. You can't just cut and paste a link. Okay, so we're going to look at a concept called a subculture. A subculture can be anything, as it's a pretty broad concept. It's kind of a culture within a culture. For example, I'm in Cincinnati, Ohio, right? The Bengals is the National Football League team. There's a huge fan base of Bengals fans, people who grew up here. There's also a professional baseball team, the Reds, that haven't been doing quite so well. They have a fan base. Some subcultures are kind of loose. For example, you have people that trade sneakers, right? That's a subculture. And some subcultures are rather more consequential. For example, people in a recovery community, maybe in a 12-step program. And then some subcultures have very serious boundaries that are very well maintained. For example, if you're a military veteran, you can't pretend to be a military veteran. It's actually against the law in some places. These are all subcultures, okay? So what you're going to do is to choose a subculture and look at the norms of that subculture, okay? please don't say my family is a subculture. It's not. It's a different thing. A subculture is a large group of people, right? Bikers, sports fans, street gangs, right? All of these, veterans, people in recovery. Those are all. So please think about this some before you answer it. Please read the definitions in the textbook. Okay. And then you're going to choose a milestone. Your milestone 1 topic. Okay. So I'm going to take a moment and we're going to look over the guidelines and rubric, okay, for this milestone, okay? So you're going to look at this is what we call in the language of Southern New Hampshire University and academic language in general, a scaffolded assignment. In other words, if you do these steps, you will build your final project. Okay, this is the first element. You need to choose a topic. Please make the topic narrow, sufficiently narrow that you can do research. Okay, what's the impact? Who is affected? Why do people think about it? Are there debates? Okay, now, you can research. Here's a list of an issue of interest, or you can have some of one of your own. But please read for bullying, violent crime, and so forth, right? Now you will narrow your focus. This is very important. You cannot write a paper on drugs and alcohol. It's too broad of an area. It's a good place to begin thinking about your topic, but you've got to be more specific. You've got to be more specific, particularly, say, if you're planning a career in human services, social work, substance abuse counseling. You can't just go, you're going to write a paper on drugs and alcohol. That's an entire major. So think, if I'm interested in addiction or drugs and alcohol, you can think of a number of areas. Discrepancies in access to treatment resources, or the fentanyl epidemic, or alcoholism, or prescription drug abuse, right? Narrow your topic, okay? Same thing with bullying, right? People want to write about bullying, and there's a million papers on bullying. So let's take a look at this. Cyber. Let's look at for the first three thought prompts up here, right? Bullying could be, you narrow it down: cyberbullying, physical bullying, workplace bullying. You cannot just write a paper on bullying. It's too broad a subject. Violent crime. That's murder, sexual assault, battery, or robbery. Gang-related or organized crimes. Inequalities and disparities in sentencing, and hate crimes. Those are examples of if crime is your interest. Discrimination. Again, you can't write a paper about racism or poverty. They're huge. It's an ocean of topics. Remember, W.E.B. Du Bois, the preeminent American sociologist, the founder of the NAACP, first African American to graduate from Harvard Graduate School, and a founding father of American sociology, wrote 128 volumes on race, spanning 5 decades. So you need to narrow your focus here for this one class. Hiring discrimination based on race, on gender, discrimination in job promotions, discrimination in allocation of medical information and doctor-patient exchanges. This is particularly a serious problem for African American women and obstetrical care in 2024, for example. Discrimination in mortgage applications, age-based discrimination. Discrimination based on sexuality in workplace and hiring processes. Or there's a whole host of LGBTQ issues, right, that are you could write about. And substance abuse, okay? These are all problems. Okay, so you can choose your own topic. If you communicate, please communicate with me. All right? After you select your topic, explain what's happening, what's the impact, who is affected, okay? Now, this is going to be your rubric. Okay. And here's what to submit, okay, and how to submit. This is key. This assignment is very critical. It's kind of one of your baselines for the class, okay? And please, if I make suggestions to you about how to improve, I've been doing this for quite a while. It's not a personal issue. It's not a reflection of your capacity or your intelligence or your ability or your willingness to do the hard work. If I ask you, to improve something, or maybe suggest that you might seek, a second set of eyes through our tutoring center here at SNHU, please do not. It's not, it's not an attack. Okay, it is what I have to do if you need some assistance, because you're new to this and I want you to succeed. Okay. So, finally, I think that is milestone. Okay, that's milestone 2. Okay, that's milestone 1. Okay. Back to our. Let's see if there's anything more in this module. I do not believe that there is. Okay. But just please, look at this. Look at these topics. Okay. The academic support module. You can get help. You pay for it, okay? And this video here will help you navigate academic support, okay? So that's Module 2. I look forward to reading your work. The work you've done from Module 1 will usually be graded no later than the following Thursday after the Sunday when it's due. Thanks, and enjoy Module 2.